Drugs were my medicine, but then they started rotting my body, rotting my mind and killing my soul. Go.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Undefeated podcast with me, Chardonnay. And today I'm joined with our guest, Patrick.
How you doing, guys? My name's Pat, and I'm here today to cover substance abuse, addiction, kind of just round it up as someone that's in recovery. So yeah, my name's Pat, and I'm an addict, and I'll explain why I say that later on.
Really?
Yeah, I'll explain
interesting.
why I say that later on.
Cool. All right, so let's start from the beginning.
Yep.
Childhood.
Okay.
What was it like growing up?
You know what? I spent a lot of my teenage life and adult life with the victim mentality of why me, why me, why me? And only recently have I soon realised that my childhood wasn't that bad. Some events did happen. At the age of 5, me and my mum was robbed at knife point in our home. Yeah, which was quite brutal.
Wait, where was you living?
We was living in, Britannia Leisure Centre in Hoxton.
I do.
We was on Colville Estate. We had 3 guys come in dressed up. One was Royal Mail. One had a full Scream outfit on, came in and then attempted to kidnap us.
No.
My mum ran to my nan's house, who lived directly below, and kind of saved us, rang the police. We had to move out a week later. And then I remember, only since getting sober and seeing a psychiatrist, he said, you got PTSD. And I said, PTSD ain't know what people in the war have got, you know? And he said, no, anyone can have it. So I spent a third of my life wetting the bed, basically, every night, nightmares about the situation repeating itself.
Wow.
And so from the age of 5 to 13, unfortunately, it made my mum quite emotionally unstable. She was on heavy antidepressants. So she was quite a cold mother. Cooked, cleaned, fed, done the basics. But for that loving, nurturing need that maybe a child needs from his mother, as I never had a father around, I never really got that. So my childhood wasn't bad, I never went without. I wasn't the kid that was able to go on all the holidays and have the expensive clothes, but for them things ain't really important, So childhood wasn't that bad, I could sit here and say it wasn't what I went through. It did shape me, but in the same time, I suppose, luckily enough as an adult, I'm learning that I'm kind of glad them things happen.
Did you say that your mum turned cold after the incident, or was it before?
It was after.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people noticed the change in her. She had to move out of the area she grew up in, and all her friends were. She weren't driving at the time, so she had no form of transport. She spent a lot of years not happy, and it really reflected into how I was treated, as to say. But I could sit here and be angry at her. I don't want to be, it's wasted. Being angry at someone who is a victim of something they don't deserve to be a victim of is a waste of energy, in my opinion. So, yeah, big ups to Mumsy. She'll probably end up watching this.
Big ups to Mumsy.
But, there's still a lot of work to do around that stuff, PTSD, traumatic experiences, we are simply just a product of our past, So we either let it define us or we move on. So, yeah, childhood wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I was lucky enough to be out every day with my friends on the road, playing football, down the skate park. I was very active as a child. Age of 15, my mum kicked me out. She couldn't handle it anymore. So from 15 to 17, I lived with my brother. My brother had 2 kids and a third on the way. We was living in a 2-bed masonette. So then he upgraded to a 4-bed. And luckily that happened, and then I had my own room, and then at the age of 17 he had to get rid of me because he had his own problems, his own stresses. So at 17 I was made homeless, and then I moved into my hostel when I was 17.
Wow. Then
from 17 to 21 was in shared accommodation, then from 21 I've had a flat ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite a lot though. I know you downplay it. It's not too much. My childhood's fine. I got to play with kids and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was still a lot that you went through.
It was wild, It was wild. It was, I never had any friends like me. Let's put it that way, There was never like a group of us that went through what I went through. So
how did that affect you mentally? Did you have like friends you could, obviously you said no one else was going through that. So did you have people you could talk to, or did you keep it bottled in?
I did, I think from a young age, other friends and parents could also see how my mother was.
Obviously you're here today to talk about addiction.
Yeah.
So how do we go from a childhood that, okay, maybe not the best,
yeah,
But, you know, things happened. We went from that to now. What was you addicted to, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's a tough one, you know, because I went to a treatment last January for drug addiction, but I've been addicted to everything.
Really?
I've been addicted. My first addiction was fantasy. Just living in fantasy land when I'm a kid.
Right.
You know, watching cartoons, obsessing about cartoons, which moved on to gaming.
Yeah.
I was completely addicted to playing Call of Duty from the age of about 12. Wouldn't go to school, didn't want us to go out my house. Like, I loved anything that would take me out of reality, you know. Then I was addicted to women, been addicted to pornography, been addicted to food. You know, you name it, I'll abuse it. Because it takes me out of my reality. So,
do you think that's like a personality type thing that you have?
I think it's an illness.
Right.
A lot of people say this, oh, you've got an addictive personality.
Yeah.
And no, I suffer from an illness, you know, of a disease of addiction. You know, addiction isn't, having an addictive personality and being an addict isn't the same thing. You know, there's people that get addicted to things and there's people who are addicts. And that's why I still on camera said my name's Pat and I'm an addict, because I'm part of a fellowship, AA, CA, NA, all of these places, Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, you know. I go to meetings almost every day, sit round with another group of addicts who all just share their experience, strength and hope to hopefully help a newcomer, you know. I study a big book which is basically like a Bible of being a drug addict. You know, this stuff doesn't disappear. You know, getting sober doesn't mean you're not an addict anymore. You know,
a lot of people actually think, you know, when you are sober,
they think you've completed it.
Yeah, that is you.
It hasn't even begun. You know, the drugs weren't the problem. I was the problem.
Right.
You know, so my drug of choice, I loved ketamine. Loved it. Could do it all day, every day, simply because it numbed me. It numbed my emotions. You know, so I'll go back to when it all started. So, age of 17. I used to puff a lot of weed. You know, I used to love a joint, a lot of drink.
Anyone that got you into that, like peer pressure from friends, or was it just purely?
I didn't smoke a cigarette till I was 17,
right.
And I started smoking weed at 15, which people can never believe.
Yeah.
People are like, what, you smoked a Zoot before? Because I was like, yeah, but I got something out of it. Cigarettes were always dead.
Okay.
I'd see all my friends in school smoking cigarettes. I'm like, what do you feel off that? They're like, nothing. It's what I do. And I'm like, all right, it's a bit weird. So I started puffing. I'd sit with the boys, roll joints. So from probably 14 to 17, puffing, and they speak about this in the big book. You know, there's a thing called the big book, AA. It's a massive book, 400, 500 pages. It was written in 1939, and it talks about addiction. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I identify with what's in the book. So there's a passage that talks about I had arrived. You know, when you get that first hit and you fall in love. And I remember going to Egg in King's Cross at 17. And just completely being mesmerised by the music, done MD for the first time, so I'm buzzing, I'm flying, you know, I knew this is what I wanted to do. So that was where it all started, you know, raving. You know, I wasn't a drug user at home. You know, I wasn't someone that'd sit in their house and do drugs. I'd go out and do them. And then obviously over the years it becomes normalised, it becomes accepted, it becomes part of friendship groups. You start making friends with people that use, and then next thing you know, it's all right to get on it on a Thursday, and then a Friday, then a Saturday, then you're going to do it Sunday, no work Monday. It's like a pattern and a loop, you know.
Oh, right.
You know, the drugs aren't my problem, I'm the problem. Drugs worked for a long time.
Yeah.
Drugs were my medicine, but then they started rotting my body, rotting my mind and killing my soul. I think that's an important thing to say on camera to people, you know. Because you take away the drink and drugs, what you're left with? Someone in a lot of pain.
Oh, wow.
You know.
So do you think he was medicating your own pain?
100%.
And where do you think that pain sourced from?
Combination of things, but definitely self-medicating. You know, it was my medicine. It's just a shame the medicine I was using eventually rotted my body, you know, destroyed my mind, ruined my relationships, ruined my friendships, you know, literally nearly killed me. You know, and I think it's very important to say that to people, that I don't suffer from a drug problem. You know, I'm sat here, an addict, recovering from drink and drugs, but drugs are not my problem, you know. I'm the problem, so I need to fix me, so I don't need to resolve into going back to drink and drugs, you know.
You said that, you know, you're an addict, but you, from the early stages, were addicted to different things.
Yeah.
When did you start to see it becoming a problem? Because obviously, if I'm a gamer and I'm, you know, playing Call of Duty every night, I'm not going to think, oh my God, this is a problem. I'm probably thinking like, yeah, this is amazing. Do you know what I mean? All kids are doing it. So what was it that you started to become addicted to that made you realise this is a problem that I want to fix and look into and get help for?
Yeah, great question. Well, my gaming was a problem because my mum had to go court because of my attendance. So hated school, wouldn't go in. So I recognised early on that I'm an abuser. I'll abuse anything. You put it in front of me, I'll do it 100 times instead of once. You know, that's just the type of person I am. So I started going raving. Everything was great for a few years. You know, I don't to look back and think, oh, it was all terrible. I've had great times. I've DJ'd in the best clubs in London. I've DJ'd in foreign countries. I've had the women. I've had the drugs. I've had everything.
The rock and roll lifestyle.
You know, like, and it's crazy to say, and it's not as if I'm saying it in a big-headed way, but I've lived other people's dreams.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important thing to recognise. You know, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not as if everything's so bad, but I started noticing things spiralling out of control when I'd use on a weekday.
Okay.
You know, ketamine is a very easily sourced drug. For listeners that don't know what ketamine is, it's a sedative. And it kind of just numbs you a bit. You know, it kind of just... the scientific way it does is it disconnects, like, your brain from your body. So it's given to people in hospitals, but obviously that's clean, pure ketamine. What I'm sniffing is street, bashed up rubbish, full of crap. So I started using it on a day. You start building up a tolerance to drinking drugs, you know, the same way an alcoholic can start drinking every day and wake up the next day and carry on drinking.
Yeah, no hangover.
You know, that's the same thing that happened to me. So I'm building up such a tolerance, I'm having to use 1 gram. Then it's 1.5 grams, then it's 2 grams. Next thing, you know, I'm doing an 1/8 a day, you know, I'm doing 3.5 grams a day. I noticed it got really bad in Ibiza. I flew out to Ibiza when I was 22 to do a DJ gig.
So you was DJing already before you started taking drugs or after?
No, before.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got into DJing not because I love drugs. I didn't associate that with the lifestyle. Funnily enough, my brother bought a pair of decks, had nowhere to put them. And he said, "Can I put these in your room?" I said, "What are they?" He's just in a big suitcase.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, they're a pair of DJ decks." I went, "Oh, go on in." Went raving. Had a little play on them, didn't know what I was doing. Went raving, and then when I looked over, I was like, "Oh, they're in my bedroom." So I've gone home, downloaded some music, started mixing. And it's funny in life, you know, I'm someone sat here, 25, unemployed, can moan that I've got no money, but everything I want in life falls on my lap. And many people say this, you know, everything I want I can get. And there's a lot of us like that out there, you know, and that isn't big-headed or anything, but whatever I want, I know I can get. And that's kind of what happened with DJing, you know. I haven't put no effort into it. I never made it a job. I never spent 5 days a week hustling. Things just fell on my lap.
Yeah.
Opportunities arose. And in the space of a few years, I was DJing everywhere, constantly, like 2-3 gigs a weekend, earning good money, not coming home with any money, you know. As you're partying, you're out, you're getting cabs, you're using.
Yeah, it's
staying
very
in
costly.
hotels, you know, like it's dangerous. So I was earning a load of money, didn't see any of it because it was going up my nose or whatever. And I just fell in love with it, you know. I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I never started for drugs.
Yeah.
I didn't start DJing to do drugs. I started DJing because I love music. I know I was good at it. You know, I knew I could do it. So that's, yeah, I forgot the question.
I interrupted you. So you was mentioning when the spiral happened and when you decided you needed help.
Great, yeah. So I was using on a weekday, you know, I'd be at home, it'd be Monday, I'd ring my friend and be like, "Come drop me some." He'd be like, "All right." A few months passed and I'd be getting it now, 3 people. So I'm calling my friend on Monday, calling my other friend on Thursday, calling my other friend on Sunday, trying to pick up ½ ounce off him each to try and split it up so it don't look like, so they don't ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not in denial of what I'm doing. I know I'm going to him on a Monday, him on a Thursday, him on a Sunday, so he don't moan, he don't get worried, and he don't stop giving it to me.
Right.
So now I'm getting it off 3 different people. I'm borrowing money. I'm in a load of debt. And this was when we entered lockdown.
So like 2019, 2020.
Yeah, so just before lockdown, I came out of a relationship. I'm DJing everywhere. Life's going great. In my head, you know, life's not great. I think the world can't exist without me. I think the DJ scene can't exist without me because I'm just fueled running off ego. I don't know my arse from my elbow. You know, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I am. I just know I'm a vessel of party, DJ, Monday to Friday, whatever. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, party, DJ.
It's that whole rave, eat, sleep, repeat thing.
Just constant cycle of just no purity. You know, you're just a vessel of whatever they want you to be. So when the lockdown come, I didn't handle it well. I started using heavily in the summer. You know, I'd be partying a lot, had nothing to do. Everyone's bored, you know. So when the lockdown came, that really hurt. Partied a lot in the summer. That really harmed me So what I would do is use on emotion, you know. So I've gone from a young age using for fun, in a rave, partying, having the best time with my friends, doing loads of drugs. And now I use to suppress my emotion. Well, as a fellow DJ, you know how much drugs are rife in.
I was going to ask you about that.
You know, it's literally everywhere, you know. I weren't paying for what I was using. Like, people were just giving it to me for free.
I mean, I think the house scene's a little bit different,
Yeah,
I can imagine.
100%.
But does the DJing influence the addiction? Does it, like, encourage it a bit more?
I think what it does is it makes you purely run off ego. You know, say I'm a car and I've got to put petrol in me. The only thing that makes me happy is my Friday to Sunday alter ego, Pat Wilson DJ, who everyone loves and everyone thinks is great, and all the girls want to sleep with him and everyone wants to put drug up his nose. You know, that is the only thing I lived for. So that Monday to Friday of living in pain kind of transferred from, well, I can't do this 7 days a week because clubs ain't open. Otherwise I would.
Yeah.
Then you got a lifespan on your own life because drink and drugs do catch up to you. Now I'm using every single day. I've been put in a lockdown. I've lost my job. I've lost my worth. I've lost my ego. I've lost what gives me strength. I've lost that character that I've created over all these years that has kept me going. And that's how I ended up in rehab, yeah. So
you went into rehab during lockdown?
Yeah.
Okay. So was it towards the beginning, towards the end?
It was... I have it on my wrist. January the 18th, 2021.
Okay, so literally like just a year ago, really.
Yeah, 14 months today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because we're filming this on the 17th.
Yeah.
So how long was you in rehab for?
I was in placement for 9 weeks.
And did you find it useful?
It's a mad question. A lot of people ask me this because I have friends that are really struggling with addiction and they say, did it work? And I go, well, I'm still sober, so I must have. But
yeah.
The truth is, same with everything. If you want it, you got to get it, you know. I didn't want to go, I'll be honest. I didn't want to get sober. I genuinely thought that they were going to teach me how to use like a gentleman.
Really?
I genuinely thought I was going to go there and they say, right, this is how you drink alcohol. Stay away from the drugs.
No, you didn't.
I did.
There's no way.
I didn't think I'd have to be completely teetotal because I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do anything. You know, I don't do any mind-altering substances. I just about drink a Red Bull nowadays.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a bit too much. Okay. I can't believe I went from 3-day benders to can't even have 2 Red Bulls. I'm like, I have 2 and I'm like, I've got to go home. But I genuinely didn't think it was going to be a programme of sobriety. I genuinely thought there'd be a way where like you could still drink alcohol, you know.
Kind of like a weight loss programme where they say, oh, you can have your chocolates here and there, but just not all the time.
Exactly.
You thought it was going to be like that. Okay,
people don't think alcohol's a drug.
No.
If I said to you alcohol's a drug, you're going to go, no, it's not. They sell it in shops and it's legal.
Exactly, yeah.
And I say to people, that's why it's the most dangerous drug in the world.
Because it's so accessible.
There's 100 times more alcoholics than there is crackheads.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because you can just go in a shop and get a bottle of booze for £2. You get what I'm saying? It's the most dangerous drug in the world. So I got there, and bearing in mind I had parties around my house the weekend before I've gone. So incident happened in January. The month I got sober, where I had a very bad health scare, you know, a lot of anxiety around it. I was going to go to hospital, I just sat in the pain for hours. And I remember this was the first time I really tried to connect to my higher power, you know. I got on my knees and I begged and I said, God, please, like, if you get me through this night, I promise I'll change. And did I change? No. Carried on for another 3 days. And I'm in so much pain right now, you know, emotional pain, physical pain, proper spiritual pain, you know, like at the end of your tether, you know, when like people say you hit that brick wall of emotion. I was so broken. And I remember my sister saying to me for weeks, you got to go rehab, I'm saying to her, I can't stop using. I'm saying to her, I don't want to use no more, but I can't stop. I physically can't stop. What do I do to stop? What do I need to do to not have to pick up drugs? Because I can't do it. She's going, go rehab, I'll pay for it. Like, I'm very lucky I've got a sister that's financially stable and loves bones off me, and she's the best thing in my life. And she's saying, I'll put you in rehab. So I said, all right, give me the Zoom call. I'll speak to this guy for an hour and I'll convince him I don't need rehab.
Oh, no.
So we're on Zoom. Within 10 minutes, I'm crying my eyes out, telling him about all my past, all my mum stuff, all this, all my drug problems. And he's like, right, come in Monday and start.
Oh, wow.
So the Friday night I've had a party, the Saturday night I've had a party, then Sunday night I've had a party.
Was this like your last hurrah before you go in?
I don't even think then I believed that I was going to stop.
Oh,
you know?
Wow.
So like, it's not as if I was like, this is it. I didn't believe I was going to stop. I didn't believe my own fate, you know. I didn't.
You didn't go in with the mentality of this is going to be me putting my foot down and saying no.
Exactly.
Okay.
I didn't ever think when I showed there that morning that was going to be the last time I felt alcohol in my breath and had drugs in my system, you know. So I've got there and they said you can't start because you're over the limit, you know, you still got alcohol in your system. Bearing in mind I was up till 5 a.m. I got there at 7:30 in the morning, so I got there, they're like, you can't start, you have to come back tomorrow. I said, cool. Broke down within 5 minutes of being in there. And then I just remember I had to go there every day and come home. So I was there from 9 in the morning till 2 p.m. every day. And I'd go there, come home. It was all the way in Acton, so I'd travel from Essex to Acton every day, leave house 7 a.m, get in probably about 4. And I just remember going to and from. I remember 19 days sober, I remember 30 days sober, 43 days sober, like just ticking away, you know. And I don't know what's kept me sober. You know, I can say God has helped a massive part, you know, but I don't know what it is, but I just know there's nothing out there for me, man. I'm an abuser. You know, I want to settle down and have a relationship one day.
Yeah.
I can't keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I want to have children. Eventually.
Do you think that's what it is that's making you stay sober, knowing that you see a future that's bigger than the addictions?
I think so. And it's hopeless out there. It's hopeless out in these parties, and you know, there's people that can have an occasional use up, and I'm very jealous of them. You know, they're the golden childs. You know, they ain't suffered, they ain't had to deal with what I've dealt with, and they didn't fall victim to addiction, and that's not their fault, and it's not my fault. You know, I'm just the unlucky person that suffers from a disease and an illness of the mind and the body and the soul. In the last 14 months of being sober, I've got a lot given to me, whether it's by God, whether it's by life, whether it's by my own doings, my own hard work, you know, and I haven't really put much effort in again. You know, it was hard for me to say I'm an addict. I didn't say I was an addict for 2 months. I'm in rehab. I wouldn't say I'm an addict. I'm sat in a rehab.
Yeah.
Someone's paid money for with a bunch of other addicts, and I would not say my name's Pat and I'm an addict. I would be too.
That's what they get you to say, right?
Yeah, you have
and you
to.
Just wouldn't.
And the main reason why they say that is for you to not only acknowledge what you are, but if someone new comes in and they see you say it, then it might make them feel better about saying it.
Right.
You know, and that, like I said before, an addict isn't someone that smokes crack on the street with a dog and begs for change. An addict can be anyone. And all of us are addicted to our smartphones. All of us are addicted to sugar. All of us are addicted to something. You know,
do you think those things should be addressed as well? Or do you think only certain addictions need
I think
help?
it'll all come to play in the future.
Okay.
You know, we're going to see so much mental health in the future. And then people
we are now, kind of.
Yeah, and people are going to need to blame it on something. And technology and society are going to be the two things that definitely need to take some accountability for the future of our world.
Yeah.
You know, because children ain't got much hope. I can't see much hope in the world for children in terms of technology, society, you know, things like that. So everyone's addicted to something, you know. And even being sober, you know, there's a 12-step program. Yeah, it's called the 12 Steps of AACANA, okay? And this is how people live their life. People get into sobriety and they choose to live their life by the 12 steps. What you basically do, you surrender, you admit you're powerless, you write down a list of your whole inventory in your body, you ask God to take it from you, you write down a list of everyone that you want to write an amends to, people that you've hurt over the years. You want to then give your will over to the faith of God in the terms of praying and being spiritual, then you want to help another addict that's brand new. And it's like a cycle of what you do.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do this. I wanted to do it my way because I've always known best. Pat Wilson's the best thing in the world. He knows how to do it. Don't worry about him. He's got the girls. He's got the looks. He's got this. He's got the money. He's had the jobs. He's DJing all the best clubs. He knows best.
Yeah.
My decisions led me into rehab. Mm-hmm. My decisions have destroyed every relationship I've had and destroyed all the friends around me. So I've only just surrendered to the process, you know, 14 months in of being sober. I've just recently got a sponsor, you know, someone that's going to help take me through the work. I'm doing meetings every day. I pray, I meditate. And it's so important to know that there's something out there bigger than yourself, you know, because we're all fueled off ego. We all think everything's on us. Oh my God, am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Am I going to do that? We don't control anything.
Very true. We
don't control nothing. We're not in control of anything. All we are in control of are our actions and decisions, and we're just about in control of them. So I've now kind of surrendered to the program, and I just strongly urge anyone out there that suffers with addiction or they have family members that they think suffer with addiction, go to a meeting. it's exactly like what you see on TV. If you've ever watched a TV show and they're all sitting around in a circle on chairs and a dude stands up and goes, "Hi, my name's Matt and I'm an alcoholic," and he starts talking in like a mad, that is it. And like you said, it is just people helping people. There's no money involved. There's no sponsorships. There's no like endorsements. There's no can of Monster energy drink sitting there saying at halftime, "Pay $2.99." You can get. It's nothing like that. You know, it's just broken people fixing broken people. And it's just so powerful. It's so powerful, you know. I am really, like I said, this come from when I said I was ashamed to call myself an addict because my ego was fueling me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go to a meeting. I wouldn't get a sponsor. I wouldn't do the steps because we all like to think we know best. And guess what? Most of us don't.
No, we don't.
Even the people that are not addicts. You know, most of us, if we're left to our own devices, life can get pretty challenging, you know. So today I surrender, I give my will over to God, and I just try to be a good person. Yes.
Going back to normality, what was that like?
Quite a challenge, you know. Just I physically couldn't not be around people. So coming back to normality was great for me, you know. It was great to be around my friends, my family, you know. Well, the world's here to be lived in, but in terms of getting sober in a lockdown and like easing my way into going out again, that was quite tough. Listen, I still party hard, you know. I just don't drink and do drugs.
Okay.
But I party hard.
Because I was going to ask you, do you think it's possible to go back to DJ fully and then not indulge in that part of the lifestyle?
Yeah, 100%.
Because everything's free.
Yeah,
they just give it to you like, oh yeah,
you're not
look.
wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, you know. I recently DJ'd somewhere and it was mad. So I had a bottle and I got all my friends in and I was just telling them to go and enjoy yourself. Listen, I don't need drink and drugs. It doesn't make me any much of a better person. So I'm someone that has low self-worth in the terms of I don't think much about myself.
You think that about yourself?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I know from others, I know I'm a great person.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have good intentions. I know I can make people laugh. I can make people cry. I'm a powerful person. But I don't say that big-headedly. I say that just from reflecting of what other people have told me. So I'm trying to like find a balance of self-love and things like that, you know, because it's the hardest thing to love yourself and have a good relationship with yourself. It's the toughest challenge anyone will face. So getting back to normality has been really good for me because I'm able to just be what I always have been, and that's a people person. You know, I'm not one of these people that shy away from situations or environments. I love being around people. I thrive, so I'm one of the lucky ones, you know. I know a lot of people in recovery that can't go out and party. They can't be around people using. You know, I've got some understanding under my belt where I know there's nothing there for me. And when I don't say that lightly, I genuinely mean one drink, one bump, one sniff can kill me. You know, it could kill me.
Have you ever had any close calls?
Not really, not
Okay.
using. You know, I've had a situation in a club where a DJ says to me, "Do you want a drink?" I said, "Yeah, just get me a cranberry juice or get me a cranberry vodka." I'll sip it, and I'll be like, "Ugh." But once again, I believe that's high power moments. Because I was obsessed for about 2 months of my sobriety. I was obsessed with to have sex one more time drunk. Obsessed about it. Like my mind wouldn't shut up. I'd be like, "No, I don't need it," but my mind would constantly say, "You just need to get lashed one time with a 10 out of 10 and just go wild for the night." That's constantly what my brain was saying. And after 2 months of that, I did feel quite weak, spiritually quite weak, thinking about it, thinking, would it be worth it? And I knew it wouldn't. My brain is playing tricks on me. You know, the addict in my mind is going, "You got to do it, you got to do it." I don't want to do it. I know, listen, I can
It's
do
not
it.
gonna be worth
I
it.
can have fun sober. So in the club, I've got given this drink and I've sipped the alcohol, and the way my body felt revolted and I was like disgusted, I kind of felt like that needed to happen.
Yeah.
You know, like God put that opportunity arisen in my life, so I was reminded how it's poison in a glass. You know, it's toxicity. It's just rubbish. It's just, I never was a big drinker. I drink every weekend. I wasn't a big drinker. I drank a lot. But I loved drugs. I absolutely love drugs. Alcohol is rubbish.
Okay.
I
Do you
hate
think it
the
was
way
too weak for what you
I just
needed
hated the way
it to
made
do?
me feel.
Okay.
I hated the hangovers. I hated feeling sick on it. I hated being bloated. Drugs were just easier.
Yeah.
It's just a bump and a sniff, and then you're on your way. Like with drinks, I needed a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
I'm a hardcore drinker,
Because you've got such a high tolerance from other things that you've taken, right? That the drink just wouldn't cut
I just love
it.
being off my head. I didn't like being tipsy. I
Okay.
didn't like having one go and having a little bit.
You just want to be flat out, just like.
I want to be at it for days on end.
Okay.
Partying. Next party. Shower party. Like I could go for 3-4 days.
Staying sober, how much would you credit to the help you got at the rehab? And then how much would you credit to your own self and you said you're religious, right?
Yeah, Christian.
So how much would you credit to that?
Yeah, so shout out to Chris, Lisa, the list is endless, you know. Shout out to everyone, Sammy, just Janice, everyone in that gaff. Because I was so anti. I'm going there, I'm starting arguments in the first week. Like, I'll be like, don't look at me like that. They're like, look at you like what? You know, I'm just aggy.
Were you paranoid?
Not paranoid, I'm
Okay.
just pissed off because I've had to accept, sorry, pardon my French, je m'appelle and all that. I've had to accept that I can't carry on. I've now got to accept that I cannot ever use a drink and drug again. So I've gone from being this guy who is just partying 24/7, that thinks that is the way to live, that thinks I am a DJ, this is my life, I have arrived, this is me, you know,
Yeah.
this is me, this is what I'm born to do. To go from that to be sat in a room surrounded by people and they're told you can never drink and use drugs again. Not that you can never, you never have to again.
Okay.
And it's very important that I separate the two. Because I could have a drink, I could have a bump, but it could kill me. And I don't mind being alive, which is a very powerful statement for
It's
me.
nice the way you said
someone
it,
like
yeah.
me to say, because there's been plenty of times when I don't want to be alive. You know, you got to remember the disease of addiction wants us dead. You know, that's what you learn in rehab. That's why I had to go. I suffer from a disease that wants to kill me. It wants me to go to the bitter ends. And it says it in the readings. There's only one way life ends when you're an addict. It's jails, institutions, or death. You're either going to go jail for committing crime to feed your habit. You're going to be in an institution because you've gone crazy from your habit. Or you're going to end up dead. Because this stuff kills people on a daily basis. Whether it's alcoholism, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's medicated prescriptions from the doctors, it doesn't matter what it is. If you abuse these substances and these mind-altering substances, they will kill you. You know, it ain't no joke. You know, so rehab was amazing. You know, I look back now and I was so switched off to it. I was so numb to it until my last week. So I was meant to be there for 6 weeks. I asked to stay for another 2 weeks. Then they asked me to stay on for another week. There were new people coming in. They wanted me to be there. And I remember graduating and sitting around a table, and I must have been about 55 days. And I got this piece of paper, and it had like a graduation thing on it. And I remember it really sunk in, and I thought, wow, like I'm really doing this. And I've been very vocal about it on social media. You know, I told people, listen, I'm in rehab.
Oh, you wanted people to know?
I wanted people to know.
Wow. That's not normally what usually happens. Normally people try to keep it on the low because they feel like a sense of embarrassment.
Yeah, 100%.
But you wanted people to know?
100%. I've done that for a lot of reasons, and the main one was to be held accountable. Another reason was to shed some light and hope, you know, because I'm a passionate person about mental health. I care so much about mental health. And we're doomed. So many people are struggling, man. So many of us are living in fantasy land, and when we have to deal with reality, it sucks. And that's why people use drink and drugs or Instagram or phones or anything. So I really cared about mental health. So that's another reason why I was very open and honest about it, you know. And it's been crazy, you know, it's been wild. And I can only thank God, like you mentioned, you know. I can't say it's all down to God. I have to give myself some credit if I'm being honest.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I also know I'm nothing without the people around me, without the meetings, without the fellowships, without Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. You meet the most beautiful people in these rooms that have been to hell and back. There was a share 2 nights ago on a Zoom call from a lady in America. She's 18 years sober, and in the space of 5 months, her brother and her sister hung themselves.
Oh my gosh.
And they both were addicts, and she couldn't get them sober.
That's awful.
And in 5 months, her brother and her sister hung themselves.
Wow.
And she's been sober 18 years. And she said, no matter what, I know I can't use.
Yeah.
She said, no matter the reservation, no matter what happens to my family members, because I made that reservation. If my mum dies, I will use. If my girl dumps me, I will use, you know, like we do. We make reservations. Like, if that happens, then I'm obviously going to be like this. And just hearing a human being that's 18 years sober say that out loud, that I lost my brother and sister, and she's crying her eyes out, but she's strong. And it was just the most heartwarming, beautiful share, you know. It really gave me a lot of gratitude, and it really sunk in, and it hurt, you know, because I have a brother and sister, I have a car, I have a license. I'm not the ugliest duckling out of the pond, you know, like I've got good things going for me, like I'm blessed beyond my wildest dreams to be born in this body, to live this life, to have this name, to be sat on this chair in front of you today. How lucky am I?
Very.
But it don't feel like that 99% of the time. You know, so that's what the fellowship does. That's what AA's for, CA and NA. Because they really make you humble. They really show you what you are. You know, you have to write down your inventory. You have to uncover your dark, painful truths. You have to fix your problems that you have with everyone. You can't carry resentments. You learn to drive in traffic slow. You learn to not be angry at someone behind the steering wheel. You learn to accept your part in situations, you know, that play out. I blamed everyone. If this don't get 1 million views, I'm going to blame you.
Oh, no.
But you know what I mean? No, like I like pointing my finger, but I need to hold my accountability in every single situation I've ever been in.
Yeah.
Because I played a part in every single thing I've ever done.
Do you ever feel that sometimes, though, you can take it on as, like, I'm just a victim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to be a victim.
Do you allow yourself to be a victim?
I did for a long time.
Okay. And where do you stand on that today?
It's a tough one. It's something that I'm still trying to figure out. Because I do believe I'm a victim in certain areas of my life, things I didn't control. But from a certain age and from a certain understanding of what I am and who I am, I know I could have done more for myself to better myself. You know, and that's a bitter pill to swallow. To accept that and be like, right, yeah, maybe I didn't do best. Maybe my decisions didn't lead me down the right path. I know they didn't, you know. I'm not going to sit here and say they did. My decisions led me down a path of addiction, crazy, in and out of hospitals, suicide attempts, you name it, I've done it, you know. And
how do you think all this, sorry to cut in there, but how do you think all of that affected people around you? Or did you even care at the time?
I've hurt a lot of people. I know my mum struggled with watching me destroy myself with drink and drugs. I know it really hurt my sister. I know my brother struggled. My brother lost his friend to suicide 4 years ago. 2 months later, I was in hospital for a suicide attempt.
Oh my gosh.
And I could just see the pain in his face when he said to me, "I've just lost my best mate. What am I gonna? I've got nieces and nephews that I adore, you know." And he said, what am I going to tell my sonny? Like, what am I going to tell him? What are you going to tell your nephew if you're dead? You want me to say that to him? Uncle Patrick's dead. And when you're in that mental stage and you're like depressed, you don't care. You're so self-absorbed. And this is why recovery works, because it's not about you 24/7. You don't live in self. Self of an addict is not good. Being alone is not good. Being stuck in your own head is not healthy, you know. So I've hurt a lot of people. I've damaged a lot of women, you know, and I don't say that lightly. It sickens me when I say that sentence, but my first relationship, I know I broke her. Luckily enough, since she left me, she got with a guy, and I think she's still with him, which is beautiful. You know, she actually reached out to me at Christmas, and she said, "I know someone said you're really struggling." This was Christmas just gone, and I was really struggling around Christmas time. And we had about a 2-hour conversation back and forth, and she was just like, "I hope you're well," you know. So that was really nice. My relationship after that ended because of my substance abuse. That ended viciously. We've never spoke since.
This is a bit like TMI, you'd have to tell me, but are people aware of your situation before getting involved with you, or do you keep it hidden?
Well,
you'd have to tell me if you don't want to, but
I'm a DJ.
So it's kind of obvious.
It's my life.
In the fine print.
They don't complain when it's Saturday night and everything's free and we're partying hard.
That's
and
true.
You know? No one complains when I'm DJing to 1,000 people and you're behind me and everyone's licking our asses, and then you're getting everything for free and you're partying and you're like, yeah, that's my boyfriend, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in like that's what they must have thought, but that's how I looked at it.
Of course, no.
And
I
that would
think
be
so.
my excuse, you know. If I'm a bit mash up on a Tuesday, they'd be like, why are you getting on a Tuesday? I'm like, oh, just for you the boys, whatever. But then when I came out of them relationships and lockdown come, that's when the lonely using really come in. You know, I went from wanting to use to party and use it as a lifestyle to really use by myself. I wanted to be alone. I didn't want to be around anyone. I'm happy to be in my own place, by myself, phone off, world off, leave me alone with a big bag of drugs.
Yeah.
So that's the reality of what it become, you know, because it's very important you said that. People do know what they're getting involved with me, and they especially do today. You know, I'm sober, and I've had some funny situations where it's very hard for me, and I really want to find someone, and I really struggle in that area because now I'm sober. It's like, what do I do? Do I find someone that uses? Do I try to find someone that's sober?
Hopefully not, right? Because that might set you backwards.
But I don't hold anything against people that drink.
Yeah. Yeah, true. That is a drug as well. You know what? You're right. I do forget that drinking is some sort of, yeah.
That's the reality of what life's like today, is that people don't understand what addiction is. I could sit here and tell you it for half hour. You luckily made a big statement when you said about highs and lows. It doesn't matter when you're an addict. You'll use on any emotion.
Right.
And that's an addict, you know. So relationships are really tough. As for someone in sobriety, and I'm 25, you know, so a lot of people get sober at 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, you know. I hardly see anyone my age in the rooms. I've met hundreds of addicts, you know. I'm going to a convention in April. I don't meet anyone my age, you know, it's very rare. It's a shame that it's led me down this path.
But everything for a reason,
This is it, you know. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to do way more sober than I ever could DJing in clubs to people. Money is an illusion. I need it, I want it, but I don't really want it. I'm going to do way more in this world for other people sober than I ever would being an addict or being a user or being on drink and drugs. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really powerful stuff. Really
I'm going to wrap up quickly in a bit, but I have a weird question.
All right, go.
But you might think, why would she ask me that? But was there anyone who was encouraging you to stay on drugs? And it would, like, in a way, peer pressure, but also you're the fun guy when you're lit. Or, like, even the person that you said, can I have a cranberry juice? And they gave you vodka in it. Yeah. Because they want you to be that sort of version of yourself. Is there anyone who wanted you to stay, you know, on some sort of substance to keep you at, I don't know, that entertaining?
I broke some hearts when I said I was getting sober, you know. I've got two very close friends to my heart, George and Arthur. We was like three musketeers every weekend, back to George's, straight through all weekend. And I could tell in my first few months that I did miss it. I did miss being with them, but I knew I couldn't for the first 6-9 months. I had to get sober, and I remember George ringing me and going, "Oh, it's so annoying you're sober, man." But he wanted me to be sober. He loved the fact I'm sober, you know. It wasn't as if he was like, "Oh, it's so annoying you're sober." He's like, "It is annoying you're sober because I miss
hanging out
flying,
in the way you used
miss
to.
just getting on it." But no, I mean, like I said, I've been very vocal about it. I'm a powerful person in terms of people know what I'm on. You know, I don't stand for nothing. Like, you can't come up to me and spike me or like be like, "Oh, yeah, have a drink, man." Yeah. "Oh, go on, have a drink." I'll be that guy that goes, "Bruv, move." Do you get what I'm saying? Like, no one could change my mind. I'm very strong-willed in that area of like, I'm not gonna take another person's like, "Oh, man, please." I've never been like that. I've never been one to listen. That's why I've struggled with getting sober, but that's also a reason why I've stayed sober.
Because that was going to be my last question, which was, the reason I asked you, is there any more people that want you to go back to that lifestyle? Is because I want to say, how are you sure that you're going to stay on this sober track that you're on? Yeah,
that's a good question. It's every day at a time.
Because you still called yourself, at the beginning of this interview, you said, "I am an addict."
Oh, I'm an addict, and I'll address myself as an addict till the day I die.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Even if you've been sober for 20, 30 years, you're still going to refer to yourself.
What you need to understand as someone that's like watching this or anything is, people relapse, okay? People get sober and they relapse, whether it's 3 months, 3 years. I met someone the other day, had 10 years sober. He relapsed. He said within an hour, he was back where he was 9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
You're not back to when you were 17 in the park with your friends having a drink. You're back to exactly that moment of pain.
All right.
Of using by yourself, of bad traits, bad habits, you know. It's not as if you go back to that fun, you're straight back to why you come in these rooms in the first place, why you got sober in the first place. So relapse is a part of recovery. It's just not, I don't want it to be part of my recovery. So the only way I stay sober is going to regular meetings, doing the steps, being a vessel of faith and courage for others, and being an all-round good person. Without that, I don't have much hope. The same way many people don't, but just life is really hard, and I know I've said this before, but life is really tough, man. I'm one of the lucky people. I get to go and sit in a room with other people and say how I feel. I don't know how many people have that option to just openly say how they feel with no judgment. You know, so my name's Pat and I'm an addict, I suppose. You know, that don't bother me today because I know what I am, but I know what I can be, you know, and that's a better person, a better brother, a better lover, a better everything, you know.
Very
Absolutely
powerful.
Everything.
So for the last, little roundup of this lovely interview, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. You might need less or whatever, but just to give some advice to people maybe struggling with addiction, what to do, how they can get help, how they can overcome it and hopefully stay sober.
Amazing. There's a few fellowships that I've mentioned. You can go on your phone or go on the internet. You can join Zoom meetings. It doesn't need to be face-to-face. You can go to face-to-face meetings all over Essex and London. Cocaine Anonymous is great. Alcoholics Anonymous is great. Narcotics Anonymous is great. It doesn't matter what drug you use. You can go to any of these fellowships and be accepted as an addict or an alcoholic. I go to all three. I do Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and I wasn't an alcoholic in my opinion because I didn't drink every day, but I'm an addict, and I identify with this. It's the same literature. We're all the same. Doesn't matter how much money you make. You know, if you abuse substances to alter how you feel, whether you're happy, sad, lonely, you do it by yourself, you sit in your ass, there's a lot of... If you use to live, if you live to use and use to live, then you're an addict. So there's a lot of help out there, Help Me Stop is the rehab I went to, which was just the best. That place really kept me grounded, and I uncovered a lot of dark stuff in there. So, there's help out there, man. Don't think you know best. I think that's the hardest part, is accepting you don't know nothing. That's been my hardest part, because I thought I knew it all. I thought I was the guy. Everyone told me I was the guy, and I weren't the guy, man. I was just on a path of death. The only place my using was going to take me was death, because that is what the disease of addiction does. It wants you dead. That's why you can't stop. That's why you have no barrier in between that first drink, that first bump, that first puff, that first anything. That's why you can't beat it, because you're just so obsessed in self. You're stuck. You're ill. You've got a disease, and that disease never disappears. If you think it can disappear, then you've lost. That's why I say I'm an addict, because as I get better, my addiction's also going to rise. So that's why I have to keep on top of this stuff, so they counterbalance each other out, because this will just play out in other areas. Gambling, women, food, gaming, you name it. Just because I put the drink and drugs down doesn't mean I'm not an addict, because it's an illness that lasts forever till the day I die.
Isn't that a bit scary? Or are you at peace with it?
I've got the tools in my toolbox to deal with it.
Right.
I've got the meetings, I've got the fellowships, I've got the people, I've got the sponsor, I've got the understanding. I've got way more than most. In the terms of life is, like I said, life's mad. Like do you ever just have moments when you just snap into life and you feel a bit weird? Mm-hmm. When you're like, right, I'm actually here doing this, and like everything's overwhelming, and you just feel a bit crazy.
Yeah.
And you get a bit hot, and you feel a bit anxious. Like, luckily, whenever I get that feeling of being an addict, I can just go to a room and talk about it. When was the last time you had an honest conversation with someone about how you felt?
Oh no, I keep things bottled in.
Yeah. And how dangerous is that?
Oh yeah, it can be quite dangerous.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I can
100%.
go to a meeting every single day and say exactly what's on my mind, whether it's about a woman, whether it's about my brother, my sister, my mother, how I feel, how much someone's aggravated me. I can share it for 4 or 5 minutes to a room of people that can't judge me. Fast forward 5 years, what you're bottling up might still damage you in relationships. Yeah, and that's the issue we face, That is the problem, because our past and our pain is what transpires into what's in front of us. Yeah. That's why I can't have a relationship, because I've got mummy issues.
Oh, really?
You
You think you have mummy issues?
100% from young age. But I
Yeah.
didn't want to get into that in this.
Oh, no, that's fine.
That's next week.
It's another episode in itself. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming down
No
here
worries, it's
and
been my
talking to
pleasure.
me today. And yeah, it's been lovely hearing your stories.
You have to type my full name in because I'm shadow banned because you can't tag me in anything either. So do pat.wilsondj for the backup account. Main account's Pat Wilson DJ. Twitter's Pat Wilson DJ. I don't use Facebook. Don't use Snapchat. And that's it really, yeah.
Proper 25-year-old, isn't it? I don't use Snapchat.
Do you use
Facebook.
Snapchat?
Snapchat, Facebook, no. And Twitter, no. But
See this.
I'm still a millennial, so it's okay.
It's alright. We'll forgive you. But yeah, give me a follow. Give me a message.